Signs, signs everywhere, signs. Signs for your business and signs for your ride. SignBros is the place where we make your signs.
Hello.
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 Good morning. Welcome to the SignBroCast. We are the SignBros. Please subscribe on the link below. We have a special guest with us today, Mr. Mike Gracey from Sho Offz and a lot of other businesses that we have going on.
That's a good one, man.
Welcome,
Thank you for being here,
welcome
man.
to the show.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Very stoked, man. My first podcast ever. Appreciate the invite, man. This is exciting. This is also pretty cool stuff.
We had to pull out the wide lens camera for you, brother.
Yeah.
Looking good, man. Looking good.
Oh, hey, guys, the camera is 10 pounds, so.
So you're a little overweight. Cool.
I'm sorry, good.
We have some cool drinks that Mike brought here today. Tell us about these.
Yeah. So I
drinks.
brought. Just figured I didn't know how many's gonna be here. I should have probably asked, but I brought a couple of our smoothies, man. We inside the gym we have a kitchen, a cafe, Fit Fuel Grill. We make smoothies. We make prep meals. I brought some blondies in there, which is it's a mix between a brownie and a chocolate chip cookie.
Oh,
So-
you're talking about food.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so you're looking for real blondies, yeah. No. And then I brought some of our blueberry protein waffles and stuff like that. So I brought, just stuff for you guys to have some breakfast. I didn't know.
awesome.
And it's delicious, man.
Yeah, that's
What surprised me was the peanut butter.
my signature shake
Man,
right
it's
there.
awesome.
That's the one I invented.
So if you walked in, what would you call this one?
Show Off special.
Sho Offz special.
Yeah, Show Off special.
Oh, I gotta try it,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely good.
Awesome.
Tell us how you got started in the weightlifting.
So I'm a military man. I played high school football a little bit, and then I got into the military at 20 years old. My first deployment, I put on like 35, 40 pounds because you had nothing to do over there but train. I was in Kuwait right before the Iraq War kicked off, and
Wow.
It's your business.
so
your
yeah,
service, man.
all you could do was eat and work out. That's pretty much all you did. So started that. I started powerlifting. I was on the Fort Bliss powerlifting team for a while, and then I was personal training at night on EP Fitness over here during my active duty time. And then once I got out of active duty, I decided to open my own gym. So it kind of all led one to another, and yeah.
It was always called Sho Offz.
So yeah, always from the beginning since 2008. So next January will be 12 years, man. I started
Awesome.
with you guys too.
Wow,
So
yeah.
you guys did my first sticker, my first T-shirt,
Yeah,
my first,
I
like
remember
everything.
that.
So yeah. So but yeah, I started in January 2008 and started right here, maybe a quarter mile down the road.
Remember that,
And it was
yeah.
1,000 square feet. So I just hit
Wow.
10,000 square feet about 3 years ago, and now I'm trying to get to about 30,000 square feet within this year. Yeah. So
2008.
yeah, 2008.
So how much difference from 2008?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've grown.
Yeah.
And
He went from like this to
Wow.
you're
That's
probably
right.
like two of these arms.
That's pretty cool, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When did you start like seriously weightlifting?
Well, like I said, I was in the military. Yeah, in the military.
High school?
No. I mean, high school, you kind of messed around. It was like, hey, let's go to the gym. I grew up in Georgia, right? So I grew up in Georgia, like maybe 30 minutes from the beach. So our whole thing was to look good. We would go lift weights and then drive the 30 minutes to the beach, like you would still hold that pump, like you know what I mean? Like you would show up like
stay
Yeah,
tight, stay tight.
puffed up and all that stuff. We thought we looked good at 15, 16 years old. We probably looked terrible, but that's how I started. And then when I got into the Army, they pay you to work out. So, you got into it and you and then everybody's like, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And you start researching, and then I got certifications and stuff like that. So,
Wow.
and then it just grew from there, man.
So when did you cross the line to a competition?
So, like I said, I was powerlifting for a long time, man. I was a strongman powerlifter. I was eating like 10 cheeseburgers at a time, just eat and lift heavy weights. That's all I wanted to do, right? So I was a bench press. I had a couple of world records in bench press when I was younger.
World records?
Yeah, world records at 181 class, a small guy, So, but I would do that, and I was eating like 10 cheeseburgers and stuff like that. Like, I just want to eat. Oh, here's a whole pizza. And then I went with my friend Junior, who was actually a trainer here at EP. He's in the military now as well, but he actually said, hey, come with me to Las Cruces. There's a bodybuilding show. So I rode with him over there, and I saw it, and I was like, my boys are up there, and they look that ripped and huge. I was like, I could do that. So
Wow.
that was in 2006. I started in my first show, and I've done probably 22 shows since then.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome, man.
I started bodybuilding in El Paso when there was no bodybuilders. There was no Instagram. There was no social media.
I remember you saying one time that you came in and you had just turned pro, I think is what you had
Well,
said.
no, I'm
Or-
top.
or-
I was top 5 in North America. So like
Oh,
out of Mexico, Canada, and U.S., I was top 5 in the middleweights. I was right there for my pro card. Then I just got so busy with the businesses, so I took a few years off and stuff like that. So now it's really I'm already where I'm at in life. Like as far as I want to get my pro card still. I still want to do it just kind of like a check the block type thing, you know.
Gotcha,
But
gotcha,
yeah,
yeah.
I got right there to the pro card, and then I just got so busy with the business.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Or that you were about to turn.
Yeah,
Gotcha,
I was right
'Cause I
there.
remember you saying something that you were the only one in this area that was.
Right, that was at that level at
high,
that
yeah.
time. Yeah, I was the only one at that level, and a lot of people, you know, a lot of support. So as I said, there's a few of us here in El Paso that started this whole fitness movement. Because before there was nobody, like there was like 5 of us. Now there's now you go to a show, there's 500, you know, here in El Paso,
Wow,
and like
wow.
you know,
Really?
different categories. And when we started though, there was only like 5 of us that actually was living the life and you know, like competing and traveling and doing all that stuff. And now it's a big thing because of social media, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Makes it huge.
That is huge, man.
Everybody
Yeah,
wants to be famous.
I went up to. I started up, and you guys don't know this. Cars, especially cars. I went and trained with Mike for about a week.
Yeah.
Maybe a week and a half.
Yeah.
It's about a week and a half, and then I went home and took off my shirt and I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Work's done. I'm done.
Yeah. I'm happy.
How long would it take, like somebody like him to get like
Stage ready?
Yeah,
So there's different categories now. Back when I first started, there was only like 2 categories. There was like bodybuilding for men, and there was like physique or figure for women. So there was only 2 categories. So that's why it was very limited to the people. If you didn't have big legs, or if you didn't have, mostly it was structured for shorter, stockier guys like myself. The taller guys were kind of out of the loop because you know they were just so lean and stuff like that. So then they started making more categories like men's physique and classic physique and stuff like that, where it's more like almost like a swim trunk model, like you wore like the board shorts and you know looking for like a more beach body look. So
Wow.
I tell everybody, hey, if you want to start, you can be ready for stage in 12 weeks usually, right? Like 3 months, you can look. So what you have is what you have, though, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah, for
we can
sure.
get you down to like 5 to 7% body fat and whatever muscle mass you have, you're gonna look great in 12 weeks. Like that's staying strict on it and all that stuff. That'll get you. Not saying you're gonna win Olympia. You're not gonna go
Sure.
get your pro card, but I can have you stage ready in 12 to 16 weeks is what I usually tell people. And it's just, I mean, but what you have there is what you have. We can shape stuff, we can mold it, but if you've only been training for 6 months, I mean, you're not going to have a lot of muscle mass. You know what I mean? You're not going to.
So like 12 weeks and then like 12 months.
But do you design a workout system based off of what the body?
Right. So yeah,
is?
so my degree is in nutrition. I have a bachelor's in nutrition. I'm actually working on my master's right now. I've been a trainer since 2001, I think. So about 18 years I've been training, personal training. I have 3 or 4 certifications for that. I still coach people. I have about 12 to 15 clients right now. I keep it small. I used to have 50 to 100. Like I did a show here in El Paso. We had 24 competitors in one show, and they were all my clients. So yeah, it was. I mean, I lived it. That's when I did nothing but train. Though I was from 4 o'clock in the morning till 10, 11 o'clock at night, straight through. I mean, I had So now I kind of keep it a little bit less. I stick with like a core group of competitors and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, anybody, it's a whole thing though. It's not just okay. Here's a diet. Here's a workout.
Sure.
Follow this for 12 weeks and get on stage. It's constantly like check it every week. We're gonna do your body fat, your measurements. We're gonna do pictures. We're gonna see where you're at. There's a lot of homework on your side. You gotta learn how to pose. You gotta learn how to. So there's a lot of stuff that you gotta do on your own.
Wow.
It's not just okay. I go to the gym 1 hour a day and I'm gonna be ready for stage. It's not gonna happen that way. I mean, the hardest part for everybody's eating.
Yeah,
Like the 1 hour,
that's a big part of
the
it.
1 hour workouts, whatever. It's the other 23 hours a day when you have to worry about what you put in your mouth,
Yeah.
Or 2 a.m. you wake up and you're starving. Okay, I'm gonna stuff a bag of chips in and stuff like that. So that's the hard part.
Mike will never know.
Yeah. They come back. I've been following your diet completely, and I gained 3 pounds. I don't get it. Like, yeah, you didn't follow anything. Yeah.
Wow. With grease stains all
Yeah,
over.
right. Yeah. Cheeto fingers. They got Cheeto fingers. Like,
the red fingers? Tell us about all your different businesses that you have.
okay, so Sho Offz was the first one I started. So so I got out of active duty in 2006 out of the military. That's what brought me to El Paso, is in the military, of course. And then I was a contractor teaching medical. So I'm a medic, and so I teach medical for people going to Iraq, Afghanistan, stuff like that. I did that for almost 6 years as a contractor for the Army and a civilian contractor. And so you'd go, the way contracting works is you'd work for 3 or 4 weeks and you'd have 2 or 3 weeks off. Then you work for 3 months and you have a month and a half off. So I left EP Fitness as a trainer, and I still had all these clients like, hey man, where are you training at? Where are you training at? So I said, you know what, I'm going to open up my own little personal training studio for my off time, So I opened up, right down the road, a little 1,000 square foot personal training studio, and that was in 2008 in January, almost, so just January would be 12 years, and I said, okay, I'm gonna just have a couple clients and stuff like that for my off time, so that way, so all these people, these people are like, oh, you got a gym, I'm gonna start going. So it started 1,000 square foot. First, it was the first week it was like 5 people, and then it was like 10, and then it was like 50. So, and then after a while, you're waiting your turn to lift because there's no room in there. So you're like, okay, can I go now? So you'd have to wait and grab a bar and lift, and then the next person would go. So I ended up moving, doubling the space to about 3,000 square feet. Then I went to like 6,000, and now I'm at 10,000. And I'm trying to get something for about 30,000 square feet now.
You're talking about 30,000. You're talking.
I'm trying
to.
So I'm trying to put I want to put like a functional fitness area. I'm trying to put like a turfed area for stuff. I've got a local boxing group that wants to move in and set up. They've trained. One guy's a 3-time world champion, and they want to bring in. They used to have a big business here, and they kind of spread out. And now they're bringing it back together. They want to team up with me and put their boxing gym, and it's a very well-known boxing gym. They put out like tons of golden gloves and stuff like that, but. So I'm trying to create them a little space, and I want to have it where you can just show up, be like, hey, you know what, I'm a bodybuilder, but that boxing looks cool, or that CrossFit over there, that looks good, or whatever, that functional fitness stuff looks good. So I want somebody to go there and be able to train however they want to train, and not just, this is a powerlifting only gym, this is a CrossFit only gym. I want people to walk in and say, you know what, I can get my food here, I can get my supplements, I can get shakes, I can get apparel, I can do CrossFit one day. I can do boxing next day. I can lift. Wow. So that's my vision. Wow. Instead of having this one streamline, like, oh, you got to go here. You can only do the machines. You can't touch anything. I want people to go there and just figure out what they want to do in fitness.
I did notice. I've been to your place a couple times. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if I've been to it the way it is now. But the times that I'm not want to say anything bad about the other gyms, but you go to the other gyms and just they're there to work out and stuff. But it seems at times that I've gone to your place, those guys are serious, man.
Yeah, so
they're there to they ain't messing around.
We have a reputation for some people think we're too hardcore. People are like, man, I don't go to your gym because everybody there's in great shape. And people actually tell me like, I don't go to your which blows my mind. They're like, oh, I don't go to your gym because everybody's in good shape. I'm like, they didn't start that way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so everybody there is motivating. It's like a family. I mean, even though right now I've got about 600-700 members right now to my gym, and everybody there knows each other, and everybody there is cool with it. And they're just like, hey, you need help, you need a spot, you need this, and they push each other. And we've got tons of competitors and powerlifters, and so much knowledge. We've got trainers that's been training for 20 plus years. I brought some of the best trainers from El Paso, and like, hey, come train here. And so they've been with me for 8 to 10, 12 years now. Wow. And so they've kind of took over the role as those main trainers in town. When we used to be me and a couple other guys. Now I've kind of stepped back from training because I'm managing different businesses. Sure, and
that's the right concept.
Yeah. So I can't do the day to day and be there training for 20 hours a day anymore. Now I like, hey, these 3 guys, they're the ones you want to go talk to. I kind of trained them or helped them get started. And now they're kind of like taking over the reins as far as the training goes.
Nice.
So that happened, and then in 2011, I finished my degree in nutrition, my bachelor's in nutritional science with a minor in biology, and I decided to start my own meal prep company. Mm-hmm. And the way that started was I was getting ready for shows. I was like the peak of my bodybuilding time. So my clients would come in. I had about 50 clients at a time, right now. Not at a time, but during the week. And so people come in and had my meals because I was eating every 2.5, 3 hours. And they're like, hey, what are you eating? And they're like, oh, this is my meal. I have to eat this right in. It might come in my bag. And they're like, hey, can you make my food? I'm like, well, yeah, I prep for myself every week. So I started making their food, and then they lost 5-10 pounds. They're like, can you make my mom's food, my husband's food, my dad's food? Wow. So it turned into 6, and then 12, and the next thing you know, we were doing 100 meal plans a week. Like their entire thing. I mean, and I was doing it like as a personal chef, like out of my house, out of their house when I first started. And man, I had a team of like 6 people, and they're like, we were making so many meals and packaging them. It was a mess. Wow. So, and then I decided to invest and put the commercial kitchen in the gym, and now we do it. So we were actually the original meal prep company in Texas. So we started at the same time. My Fit Foods, they actually closed down a few years ago, but they shot out like 80 locations. Wow. So, but then they spread themselves too thin, and then they ended up closing down about 5 or 6 years later. But
got you.
So
yeah, I remember that was right around that time. I think you had just started that. I remember it was in about a span of about a week, and I had 3 customers come in, and they were talking. I don't know how it came up, but it just so happened they were buying their meal preps from me. Yeah. So it spread like wildfire, and it was mostly word of mouth. And now there's a lot in El Paso doing it, and some guys do it really well. And I never knock any competition. I learned that in business a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Somebody's doing something, you don't talk trash, you don't bash them. There's no room for that. There's plenty of room in El Paso. Oh, yeah. There's plenty of room in El Paso for growth, and there's no reason to down talk anybody. So there's a couple of guys doing it now, and people coming up every week. I see them popping up on social media. Come get your meal prep with me, and they don't realize though it's every week. It's not like, hey, some of the guys that do it are
law enforcement, they're doctors, they're nurses or stuff like that, and they need their food.
Yeah.
So you can't say, hey, I'm going out of town this weekend, I'm not going to cook for you.
Gotcha.
Like, you got to be...
So your staff is, that's what
Yeah,
I've got a staff that does just that.
I've got about 12 people that just cook. So
Really?
throughout so like, that's all they do. That's all they do is
staff.
make
That's awesome,
food.
man.
That's all they do. Like, come by one day and I'll show you guys the operation. And
Wow.
like, Sundays are still our busiest day. Sundays and Mondays, of course, the beginning of the week. But yeah, they're full time with that. Yeah.
And that's under the name Sho Offz as well?
So that's Fit Fuel Grill, FITFUEL
Fit Fuel
Grill.
Grill,
Yeah.
that's
So
really
I've had that since 2013. So I started that one.
And right now, how many meals a week do you prepare?
So we do about 60, 70 meal plans. So that's weekly, that's like 15 meals and all that stuff. But we do about 200 meals a day out of our fridge. So yeah, so we stock the fridge every day, and it gets people come in there. We have a 5 for 30 program, a 10 for 55. You can come in and just, I need lunch for the week. Let me grab 5 meals. You can pick out, I want turkey, I want chicken, I want salmon, and you can just grab your meals out the fridge. They're already ready to go, and just take them with you.
Gotcha.
And the fridge is restocked every day. So yeah,
Wow.
That's good. Ready?
That's pretty good. Do you guys deliver as well?
Start
Or-
our diet.
we do have delivery. We have delivery service as well in the evenings. So we deliver all the way to the west side and back. I tried shipping for a while, man, but it was just being in El Paso. It's tough to ship anywhere. When I lived in Dallas, so I had a restaurant in Dallas too for almost 3 years. So I had one right there in Arlington, about a half mile from the Cowboy Stadium, and we were doing really well over there. But I moved back to El Paso and I sold it to my business partner over there, and he changed the name and wanted to kind of branch out and try to spread himself too thin. But he franchised it out, but he's still got one location that's doing really well for him. But yeah, so
Wow.
I moved back to El Paso in 2016. I was gone for like 4 years. Yeah.
Congratulations. It sounds like it's going really
that's
well.
It's doing well. I mean, it's a headache. Owning your business is a headache. I don't think I've slept a full night since 2008.
It owns you, right?
Yeah.
It owns you.
You wake up in the morning, somebody calls you at midnight. Hey, the door won't open. So we're a 24-hour facility. So the gym's 24 hours. So you get a scan card, kind of like a hotel key. And sometimes you get software. It's software, it's technology. So hey, they call me at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's, hey, Mr. Gracey, my scan card's not working. The door won't open. So I'm like, all right, I'll go to the gym, open it up. I got to reset stuff, and But hey, that's your business. These people pay to come in 24 hours, and even if it's the ones or two guys, it's still you want to take care of them.
Wow.
So what's next? What's next in the? You still
So actually, in just January, as you see in my get up here, my uniform, I got activated for the military again. I've been in the military for almost 15 years now, off and on. I took a couple of years off when I was traveling a lot for bodybuilding and for the supplement industry. So I worked for the supplement industry for the last 5 years as a sales rep. So I started as a sponsored athlete. I started with a company called ProSups, and I was going around doing demos, and I was doing the shows and events. They hired me as a sales rep. I went to Cellucor. Then I went to a company called Atomic, which is actually based out of here, Atomic Strength Nutrition. And then in January, I left a company called High Tech Pharmaceuticals, which is the largest manufacturer in the world. I left them in January and started my own line, Mad Chemist Labs. So I have my own supplement. Yeah, so I have my own supplement line now. I've got a pre-workout and a pump, a vasodilator, a nitrous oxide product. So I started that in January, and it's been a slow moving. It's moving, especially in El Paso, just because of the love and support I get from the local community has been just amazing, But I've got it in 43 locations in Texas. I've got it in Chicago. I've got it in Arizona. I've got it in New Mexico. I've got it in a few other states, Florida. But I'm not out there like I need to be. You got to walk in the stores and pitch the product. That's why I'm going
Set
to
up little booths.
I'm going. Yeah, so I did a booth here. I went to Olympia. I'm going to Olympia this weekend. I got some meetings set up with some accounts and stuff like that. So
Nice.
it should be good. But that's my new venture.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's huge, man. It's been a while since we've seen you.
Yeah. I've
So
been a few
all
years.
this information, man, it's
Yeah.
great to see because we saw you when you just started.
Yeah, it was just me and little
2008?
It's 2008. And literally, I started when I only had like 4 or 5 clients, and I had a couch in the front. I had a couch in the front, and I would train at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd have 2 or 3 clients, and then I wouldn't have them until 9 or 10. So I'd sleep on the couch, and then somebody would come in. I'd wake up, and hey man, what's going on? Like, ready to work out?
Yeah,
What are you?
that was
Let me show you.
working out.
Let me show you around the gym. I'll show you around what I got. So
Just stretching.
But I mean, like you guys, I'm sure the same way. You guys have grown a lot since I walked in. I turned right. I was like, where does this place come from? So, so I mean, you live it for a while, man, and you invest everything into it, and you invest your time and your effort, and you can't just open a business and like, okay, here, run my business for me, and it's going to work
It's
perfect.
gonna automatically start
Every day, still 12 years later, I'm making changes every day. You know what I mean? Like it's something just you figure it out. You figure something else out. And,
Wow.
Tell us what you do with the military.
So I'm a medic, man. So I love medical, man. I'm actually trying to get into. I know I need to add more stuff to my list, but I'm trying to get to the PA program. So yeah, I like to be a doc, man. I love medical. I love helping people. I think why I do such well as a trainer. I love people's transformations. I love to see them like, hey, and it's not just I want to get ready for show. I've helped people that were with like various diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, stuff like that. And not that I'm not a doctor by any means, but like there's stuff that we could do with my knowledge in nutrition, my knowledge in exercise that we can help you. And I've got doctors actually send me their patients and like, hey, this guy's got he's got the triad, he's got high blood pressure, he's got borderline diabetes, he's got pre-diabetes, he's got this high cholesterol. What can you do for him? And we put him on a plan, we put him on a workout regimen. 3 months later, they're off medications. They're completely cured. They've lost 20, 30 pounds. I mean, that's how it all spreads. Then people come from there. So no ways am I a doctor, but that's what I love to do. So in the Army, I'm a medic right now. I'm actually working with the border right now. They actually activated me full time, so I'm doing that as well right now. So I'm running 3 businesses. Still prep about 10, 12 clients, and then I've got the Army thing going on full time. So yeah, I just got back from.
I'm glad you were able to make some time.
Oh, this worked out perfect, man. This actually worked out. The day you told me, like Wednesday morning, I'm like, I could do Wednesday. Like I was in Austin 2 weeks ago, and then I was in San Antonio last weekend. I just drove back on Saturday night, late Saturday night, and then I leave tomorrow for Vegas. So I mean, I'm always, even though I live here now, I'm just in and out of town all the time. So.
When you're from Atlanta, you said?
No, well, South Georgia. So south of Savannah, between Savannah and Jacksonville, it's a little place called Brunswick. St. Simon's Island out there. It's right on the ocean side. That's where I grew up from maybe 8 till I was 20 before I left for the Army.
Is that what you consider home, or is El Paso your home?
Well, El Paso, I've been here since 2000, so this is my home now. So everything, my businesses, my houses here, stuff like that, things that I've grown. And I mean, I've lived in Houston. Like I said, I left in 2013 for Houston, then turned around and moved to Dallas. And I said, I'm going back home. I'm going back to El Paso. It's just cool. It's something like from about El Paso. I mean, Houston was, it's a mess. Houston's like LA traffic, and it's hot and muggy. It's terrible. Oh man, it's terrible. You walk outside, you're just like, I have to have a towel on my shoulder because I'm just pouring sweat. And then Dallas was nice, but it was just, I mean, it's huge. You get back to El Paso, and just the people are so nice. Like everybody's such good people here, you know what I mean? And I've been all over the world, and El Paso's got some of the best people. It's like everybody treats you like family. Everybody's like, hey man, hug you, and hey, come eat. You go to somebody's house, and you're eating when you go to somebody's house,
Of course, man, of course.
That's amazing because we hear a lot of stories about people in the military, and they always from different places, but they always end up back in El Paso.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people, some people, if you don't get out and experience El Paso, and you're the military guys, I tell them, man, you're stuck in the barracks. You don't do anything. You're gonna hate it, right? You only go to most of these guys here too. The active duty guys are in the field all the time. Yeah. But when they get out the field, all they do is go to the same 3 bars, and that's it. Like get out and check the Chihuahuas game, check the soccer team, check the hockey team we got. Go out and hike, go mountain rocket climb.
Restaurants.
Restaurants. I mean the food here. Yeah, I mean I'll tell everybody, where should I go eat? You got to go. A few restaurants that are unique to El Paso, and there's no Hispanic food like El Paso. You go to Houston, this is a Mexican restaurant. No, this is Tex-Mex. This is Tex-Mex. This is different. This is what I could do. It's not like you go to the L&J's, or you go to Carlos and Mickey's, or you go to even some of these just hole in the wall places. But the food is just phenomenal. Yeah, you're just you won't get.
There's no food like El Paso.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I think we're not rated enough on our culinary expertise here. I mean, even the guys making the bars and stuff that have the Benny Franks and the Crave and stuff like that. When these guys are doing more stuff with food that you won't even see that stuff in Dallas. You know what I mean? Or it's 10 times the price. You know what I mean? This is gourmet food. It's $80 a plate. And you come here and these guys are like, hey, it's $12 for these gourmet tacos. It's just, it's good, man.
Question: Do you get to pig out?
So so everybody asks that, what do you eat all day? So
Chico's tacos.
I follow. I've done Chico's twice in my time here. I can't handle Chico's, man. That's too much. That's too much for me. Usually it's 2:00 in the morning. It's not a good time. It's not good for me. So I stick with a little bit cleaner than that. But I try to follow what we call the 90-10 rule. 90% of the time I'm on track. I eat my meals. I'm on structured. I eat clean. It's chicken and rice and turkey and lean beef and stuff like that. 10% of the time I enjoy life, man. I want to go out and have drinks, and I want to have try the food and stuff like that. I don't want to for so long, for about 10 years, from 2008 to on. Probably to about 2012. 2006 to 2012, I didn't do anything. Every summer I was competing. So from March until October, I didn't go out. I didn't eat at restaurants. Every meal was planned. Everything. I lived the competitor life, and I didn't do anything. And I kind of resented it for it. I kind of missed out, and it's hard for relationships, and it's hard for friendships and stuff like that. Because they're like, hey man, you never go do anything. I'm like, bro, I got a show coming up. Like I can't, like, because if I go out, I'm going to want to drink. If I go out, I'm going to want to eat. So I stayed at home, and my meals were prepped, and that's why I think I was more of a workaholic then, because it kept me like, hey, I can't, man, I got to work. It's kind of like my...
Would you say it was kind of like an addiction?
It is an addiction. So, if everybody's addicted to something. So if it's food, if it's something else, if it's alcohol, everybody's addicted to something. Yeah. So workout was my addiction for so long, where, I still train. If I don't train, and if I miss 2 days of training, I feel off. I just feel off. Like I feel like I train. I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I go train. I just came from the gym right now. I usually go back at about 11:30 and train again, or even after work. Usually in the morning I just do cardio and abs, and I go back and do my weights later on. I like to split it up. But I get it in every day, and I just, that's even on the weekends. We're like, oh, what am I do today? I'm gonna go work. I'm gonna go work out. That's my release from life. Yeah. And that's like my zone is.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a disciplined lifestyle.
Yeah, very disciplined. Yeah, especially when you're competing. Like I tell you, like right now, if I feel like going to have a cheeseburger, I'll have a cheeseburger. But when I'm competing, it's not happening. Like I'm and I don't even miss food anymore when I'm competing. So everybody's like, well, you must hate life. I'm like, no, I love it. I love to compete. I tell people that all the time. I said, listen, why are you doing this if you hate it so much? You hate the diet. You're complaining about cardio. Don't do it. Yeah. You're not going to make $1 million bodybuilding. You're not going to make, you might get a little bit of fame and fortune, but if you're complaining about it and you hate in life, do something else. Yeah. Like go play basketball. It's like, this is a disciplined lifestyle, and if you don't love it, you're going to do terrible at it. Because you're going to resent everything you do. So, it's just like that. You just got to love what you do.
In the competition field, how many different levels are there, like as far as weights? So
like I said, so when I first started in 2006, there was only the bodybuilding for men, and there was figure for women. So that was it. So, you would have maybe, the weight classes go about every 15 to 20 pounds. So you'd have, your bantam weights, your welter weights, your light weights, your middle weights, your light heavies, and your heavies. And then now they have, but they were all bodybuilding. So everybody wore like the little like,
Speedos.
The little Speedos, and you pose on stage and stuff. And now they have men's physique, which they came out with a few years later, probably about 2010, 11. They came out with men's physique, which is more like a beach body. So you wear board shorts like swimming trunks. They're about down like 2 inches above the knee. And pretty much they wanted to see leanness, but not over muscularity. It's more like, this is what I call male models. So these guys here are like lean, and they have nice abs and nice shoulders and arms, but they don't care if they work legs. And so it's just like, hey, my shoulders look good, my abs look good. This is your club muscles, So that's nothing wrong with it. A lot of you guys start there, especially for the taller guys. If you're 6 foot and above, and you're not putting on a lot of like super mass on your legs. You're just too tall. Like it doesn't. 10 pounds on me looks way different than 10 pounds on them. I'm 5'5", and these guys are 6 foot plus. Like that men's physique's where you're gonna be at. A few years ago, they came out with classic physique, which is like the Frank Zane style. So they got almost like the little hat, like almost like underwear, almost like a half leg
boxer.
Yeah, almost like boxer briefs type thing. And they're more of like a lean look. So they want like these lean, but still a little bit muscular. You're gonna have legs, but you don't have to can't be too muscular. Wow. And then bodybuilding, of course, that's what I do. That's your mass monsters. That's your short, stocky guys like me that have 34-inch, 40-inch legs, and and stuff like that, and they look like little, in clothes. They look like they're super fat, and then they tell you, "Oh, you look good, man." Like that. Yeah. I went to the VA a few years ago, man, and the doctor, they put me on the scale, and like, "Oh, you're 215 pounds," and the doctor, he sat down, he's like, "Well, sir, you're obese, man. You're morbidly obese." And he said, "Oh, what? Have you ever had any surgery?" "Oh, yeah, I had a hernia surgery in my umbilical a few years ago." He said, "Can I see it?" I take my shirt off. He's like, "Oh, disregard the obese comment." And he's like, "Can I touch your abs?" And he's like, just like feeling on my stomach. And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Never mind the obese thing." He's like, "You're good. You were in baggy clothes. You look like a,
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
Little chubby kid.
Yeah.
Who's like the man that you guys all look up to as far as bodybuilding?
So there's a few that
All-time.
Mr. Olympia is, which I'm going to this weekend. That's your Super Bowl of bodybuilding. That's your World Championship of bodybuilding. So the best of the best of the best that get on that stage. So Phil Heath's won it for the last few years. He's not competing this year. A lot of people look up to him because he started as a college basketball player. So think about a college basketball player, how they look, real lean and slender.
Who's this again? Sorry.
Phil Heath.
Phil
Heath. And then now he's 6 times Mr. Olympia. So you see him and he's just got like bubble muscle. I got a few pictures with him. I can show you guys, but he's just got like bubble muscles. And to start from that, really nice guy, well spoken and stuff like that, college educated, stuff like that. So he's really, you talk to him, he's very, articulate and all that stuff. So, but there's a couple of guys that I've got are some real good friends in the industry because I've been in the supplement industry where I was at. I get to spend a lot of time with these guys. They're all sponsored athletes and stuff, and some of these guys are just super humble and cool, and I mean they're larger than life. Like Rich Piana, who passed away a few years ago, he was 300 something pounds. Tattoos and all the tattoos like make his muscles look a certain way. Like they all accentuate him, and he was just a YouTube superstar, millions and millions of followers on YouTube, and has his own supplement line. But he was one of the most down to earth guys. I mean, we did a video one time. He came to El Paso for an event, and he trained in my gym, and I did his meals for a while and stuff like that. And we were talking, and we showed up at one of the bars here locally. And everybody knows me pretty much here, not that I'm famous or anything, but a lot of people know who I am because I've been around for a while. And then they know who he is because he's so famous on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. I mean, millions of followers. Wow. So all of a sudden, all these shots start showing up at our table, like trays of shots, right? So we start hitting them, and by the end of the night, we're like dumping them into plants, right? Because they're like just kept showing up. Like, hey man, we got to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we had this debate. He's from California, of course. What's the debate between Texas and California? In-N-Out Burger and Whataburger, right? So he's like, oh man, you guys have the In-N-Out around here. He's like, In-N-Out? That's terrible, man. You got to go to Whataburger. He's like, what is that? He's like, I was like, man, Whataburger kills in it. So we had this debate on it. Like, so he actually put it on his YouTube where he was at. I took him to Whataburger right down the road at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, nice.
And of course he orders. So he was doing keto diet, which is like a no carb diet. Okay. So he orders 6 patties on lettuce. And that's all he got. He's like, "Wow, this isn't better than it." I was like, "Because you didn't get Whataburger.
Yeah,
you got
that's not a Whataburger.
You got to get the fries." I always argue with like In-N-Out only has one thing. It's got one burger, and you get more patties. Like, you want tacos? We got tacos. You want taquitos? You want chicken strips or a wing? Like, that's Whataburger. You want green chili? You want Whataburger? You want a grilled cheese sandwich? They'll make that for you too. That's what they do.
So he ate a 6-patty burger.
6. Well, there's no bread. It was just lettuce and 6 patties on. Yeah, so that was his meal, and he's like, "Oh, this isn't better than In-N-Out." I'm like, "Because you didn't have Whataburger."
Yeah. Wow, I'm glad it didn't end up on the mat or something, man.
Yeah, no. He outweighs me by like 150 pounds. It wouldn't go very well. I could probably outrun him. You know what I'm saying?
What about all time that you guys looked up to? Like,
Arnold, man. I mean, Arnold's still the GOAT, man. I mean, you can't. I mean, even though he hasn't won the most, Ronnie Coleman's won the most Mr. Olympias. But Arnold is somebody because he started all this. Like nobody would be in this industry. He started.
He was Mr. Olympia.
He was Mr. Olympia 6 times. Yeah, 6 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's back when nobody did it. You know what I mean? Like that's back in the 70s. So
wow.
He's the one that everybody looks. I mean, you go to he'll be there this weekend probably, and I go to the Arnold Classic in Ohio. That's in March of every year, and I mean, he has an entourage of about 50 people around him, like security guards, and just like, I mean, you can't even just to get a glimpse of a picture with him is like amazing. Like he's just still even at his age, and he's still in great shape, but at his age, but he's just larger than life, man. Like he's just one of those people that you look at, and he's just.
I do have, go ahead. No, okay, I'm older. I do have a question. Like when you have these actors that pump up for movies for roles, how dangerous is that to go? So you have limited time to.
Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, as long as they follow, they get with like it seems like The Rock. The Rock is big for like Fast and the Furious and stuff like that, and he's the #1 action star. He's actually starting his own show, his own event, like the Rock Games in Atlanta next year. So he's going to have his own television production. He's going to put it on like ESPN for bodybuilding and all that stuff. So The Rock's actually getting involved in the sport. So his actual coach is one of the famous coaches in bodybuilding. That's who got him to that size and that shape and all that stuff. But I mean, like this is what I tell everybody: danger. It depends who's doing it. Like, so the problem is now there's no there's no credentialing for coaches and trainers and stuff like that. I mean, there's certifications, but there's some certifications that are $1,000 or some certifications that are $50. And all you know is that they're certified, right? So
get them online or something, yeah.
Right, yeah. Well, this is
have the SignBros make you.
Yeah, right. It's a print your old certificate, like Sho Offz personal trainer. Yeah, so there's no that. So you can get with a guy that did 1 or 2 shows, or some kid that's he's 19 years old and he's got a great physique. Well, what does he really know about like changing your body? What does he know about your nutrition? He's putting you on his diet that might mess your metabolism up or something like that. So, and we always talk about that personal trainers aren't supposed to give diets, and that's for nutritionists, Personal trainers are supposed to train you. Yes. But now people are like, oh, my personal trainer gives me this diet, and they tell me to take these supplements and stuff like that. I was like, well, what qualifies them to do that? Like, where are they getting these like they read a book and they read some magazines and stuff like that.
Google.
I look good last year in my show, so follow me so you can try me. But
Yeah.
I know some trainers here that are great though. Some guys that started as young kids and they're the future of the trainers in the U. And we got one little kid, a guy like a little kid. He's just turned 20, I think. Richard at my gym, man. Kid's phenomenal. He's a phenom for as far as bodybuilding goes. He's won like 12 shows already or something like that as a teenager, and and he's a great trainer. He's there and mostly for training. This is what I tell people: you just got to be there for your clients. Like they need that motivation. They need somebody to report to. They need somebody that's going to show them the right form. And hey, what do you want to do? You want bigger arms? We're going to work on your arms today. Okay. You want bigger chest? We're going to mold you. You know what I mean? That's what you want a trainer to be. Somebody that's not like on the phone the whole time, or hey, go do 5 of these, and I'll be in the other room sitting there on the couch chilling. So
let me know when you're done.
let me know. Come back to me when you're done. So
Wow.
there's some good trainers, and and some people give it a bad name because they won't show up for the clients. Especially I tell the trainers at my gym, I say, listen, if you're not a 5 a.m. person, don't take 5 a.m. clients.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're not a morning person, don't tell a client you're going to be there at 5 a.m. for them because you want the money, and then don't show up for that client. Because then at my gym, all the trainers there are private contractors. They don't work for me. They work for themselves. They pay me a rent. Their trainers, their members pay a discounted fee, but they work because I used to work at EP Fitness, and they pay me by the hour. So you pay me by an hour where I was training somebody, or I was sitting on my butt, right?
I'll be there at 5. I'll be there at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm gonna sit down. I'll be sleeping in the back though. You know what I mean? Like so.
Wow.
So this is what I told them. Like, listen, I'm not gonna pay you. You're gonna pay yourself. So if you want to pay me every month and sit on your butt and not get clients, you're just gonna lose money. Or I'm gonna charge you a minimal fee. You make sure you have your own insurance and all that stuff, and you're responsible for your own clients. Right, so you got to go out and hustle. You got to go out and sell yourself. You got to go out. You got to keep your clients. You can't, stand them up, stuff like that. Yeah. So I think I'm training the future of what it should be instead of hiring these kids. And I'm like, hey, I'm gonna pay you $15-$20 an hour, and it's like for them, it's like a job at Starbucks. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I show up sometimes, and that's it.
Gotcha. Wow, that's pretty cool. Interesting, man.
I was gonna ask you earlier when I asked you about the weight classes and stuff. There's a football player that I know, and he just started doing for competition.
Okay.
But he's 6'8", 300 pounds.
Yeah.
6'8", 330 or something
Yeah,
like that, man.
that's crazy.
So is there like a special division for him?
You would have to
just consider heavy?
Well, you just have to look at where he's at though. So physique, there's no physique body. There's no weight classes. It's just by height. So it's It's like 5'7" and under, 5'7" to 6, and then 6 and on. So there's 3 different categories, but it's all by. I mean, once you get to like the bigger shows, it's like every 2 inches is a different class, like Class A, Class B, Class C, and then you got classic physique, which is in the middle. So you have to, for your height, you have to be at a certain weight. So if you're like me, I'm 5'5", I have to be at like under 170. I can't be any more than 170, or I don't category.
Wow.
So there's also men's physique, which is the height and weight, and then bodybuilding, which is I do. It doesn't matter what your height is; it's a weight category. So like last few years, I competed as middleweight, which I get down to 176. So
from 215 you go down to
176? Well, last year I went down from 230 to 176.
Wow.
So that was in about 12 and a half weeks.
You lose that weight in how fast?
That was in 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. I went from 12.
So you go from that to this.
So yeah. So I stepped. Yeah.
Thinking of me, man.
I stepped on stage at about 185. But once you drop the water and weigh-ins, I weigh in right at 176 and a half, and then I carved back up to about 185 or so for stage time. But I started at almost 230 last year. When I started getting ready for show.
And do you gradually go down to that weight,
So,
or do you like?
I went a couple years. Like I said, that's right after my last like big show at North Americans, and then I went a couple years. I was so busy with the industry and so busy with my businesses and was just life. And then last year was the first show I did in about 4 years. So I was off season. I mean, I look decent. I always have at least a 4-pack. I never lose my abs, and my wife hates me for that because she's like, you eat like crap and you still got at least 4 abs. So
you're slacking. You only have 4.
Yeah,
Where's the 6? I want to see 6.
So I try to keep abs all year long. That's where I kind of my judge is at. Like, oh, I don't have abs. Let me change my diet a little bit. Let me do some more cardio. I always want to keep that. I won't be ripped and shredded. It's just not feasible for people. You know what I mean? Like, unless you just have a high metabolism. But those are your super skinny guys that like, hey, okay, I can get a 6-pack, but I can't put on 15 pounds. Okay. I'm the opposite. No, I can put on 30 pounds, but I can get fat quick. Like, not fat, but I'll put on fat as well.
Wow.
It's easy for me to gain weight. I'm not one of those guys that have a super high metabolism. Metabolism is good. I train hard. I lift heavy. I work out a lot. So my metabolism is good, but I'm not a guy that's like, hey, I'm 150 pounds all year round. Or if I eat Peter Pipers or I eat chicken breast. So it's I'm a guy that's like, hey, you eat Peter Piper 3 or 4 times a week, you're probably gonna put on 10 pounds of it's not gonna be good. You're gonna have a little aloha going on.
So how did you do it? You like I said, did you gradually go down?
So you change it up, man. I always like to work. I coach people, but I always want somebody to coach me. I always want somebody to look at me and say, not much for like the educational side or like the nutrition side, because I know that stuff, but I need somebody to help keep an eye on me and say, listen, you're slacking. You know what I mean? You need somebody to be accountable to. You're slacking. You need to get up here and do more. Or hey, man, you start second guessing yourself. Especially as you start getting really lean and like you're doing like no carbs and stuff like that. Your mind starts to kind of like drift off, and you're like, oh, I need to change this. I need to change this. You need somebody to say, hey, stay on track, man. You're where you need to be. You don't need to make drastic changes. So, I coached myself for a lot of years in body, and I did well at the amateur level. But when I started to get to the pro level or to the pro quality level, I needed like, hey, I want somebody to look at me and say, step it up, whatever, or you're on the right track. Somebody to kind of be a second set of eyes for you.
The wives are pretty good at.
I say that the family and friends are the worst critiques, because they're always like, hey man, y'all, you look great. I mean, you look amazing. You step on stage and you think you look amazing. You're like, oh, I need another 4 weeks of dieting down. I want somebody who's going to be true to you and say, listen, you're not ready. And I have to tell some people, some of the clients, I have to tell them like, hey, I don't think you're ready. You need to push it back to another show or something like that.
But it takes someone that needs to know. Like, if you look good
right.
So now to me.
Walking around the street, oh, you look great. Yeah, I look great walking around, but am I ready to stand the best in the U.S., or the best in the world or whatever, So you it's got to be somebody that knows and be like, hey, you're not ready, or, it just got to be, somebody's got to be real with you.
Do you have any women that are actively
Yeah,
that are competing?
I have a few. I just got done. Well, she's working with another coach just because I've been so busy. But one of the trainers there, Miss Laura, she's in her mid-50s and she looks phenomenal. Like she's been competing for a lot of years. And then I've got a couple. One soldier that I'm about to start training. She's going to start training with me for next year's competition. Wow. So right now I'm just trying to cleaning up her diet. I'm putting her on. I just want to make sure she's eating healthy and all her her vitamins are optimal and she has a good rounded diet. She's not like starving herself or anything right now, because we're not ready to be at that point where I want to make sure her metabolism's great before we start. Sure. So right now, just say, hey, I'm trying to feed you. I want to make sure that how your body reacts to food. I'm trying to learn that person before we start that road to, getting down to 5 or 6 or 7% body fat.
And how different is it between a man and a woman? Because I know women always say, we lose it faster than that.
Well, men do have a higher metabolism, but usually they're less disciplined. But we're better with food because we don't have cravings like the women do, because we don't have the hormone factor and stuff like that. So it's kind of goes both ways. So women, they don't have to. So for guys, it's like, okay, I need to keep as much muscle as possible and get as lean as possible, which is in the nutrition world, that's an oxymoron. Like you don't gain muscle and burn fat at the same time. You're either catabolic or you're anabolic, right? You're anabolic gaining muscle, or you're catabolic and you're eating fat, like calories, Okay. So you're trying to maintain your muscle mass and you're trying to burn that fat as much as possible. That's what I said when I get somebody ready for a show. What you have is what you have. Like if you just start cutting your diet and doing cardio right now, right? Cutting your calories and doing cardio, your body's going to burn fat and muscle equally. That's just how it works. Like it's just like, okay, I don't have enough calories. I'm going to burn muscle and fat equally. So how do you tell your body, like, hey, I need to maintain this muscle mass, but I need to get this fat off? So you have to, it's all about nutritional timing. It's all about your workouts. It's all about, hey, I need to keep my aminos high so that way I'm not like starving my muscles to feed another muscle. And, it's just looking at somebody, hey, I'm dropping way too fast. Okay, let's bring the calories up a little bit, So it's a science, man. I mean, that's what nutrition is, a science, just like medicine, just like, anything. It's a science.
But when they come to you for this service, that's what you provide, all this stuff.
Right, yeah. So I sit down and I look at the total person. You treat, it's just like you take care of the person. You look at them and say, what's your schedule like? What time you wake up? What time you go to bed? Are you stand up all day, or do you sit down at a desk all day? So these are all things when you're figuring out a person. Like, what do they need to do to get where they are? So like you got to figure out that whole person. You can't just say, okay, here's a cookie cutter diet from you. Here's a cookie cutter. I'm gonna give you guys both the same diet, both the same workout. Yeah. I'm gonna give, but I'm trying to gain weight. I'm trying to lose weight. And you can't give them the same stuff. Everybody's different. So, and they could be two people that are exactly alike. They both weigh 150 pounds. They're both the same height, but their bodies could be totally different.
Yeah, or they can have completely different schedules.
Right. Yeah, that could do it. Oh, I sit at home all day. So it's all about, it's a science, man. And you gotta take everything into a factor. Like, what have you been eating for the last? What do you eat now? Like, hey, I try to eat clean right now. And another person's like, no, I eat Whataburger, 3 times a day and tacos. So, okay, so maybe we just need to clean your diet up. And you've been eating clean for a while. Yeah. We need to really sit down and try look at your macro intake, say how does your body respond?
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Man.
Yeah, man.
This is too much. I need a burger.
I have I have years and years of useless knowledge, is what I call it. It's not useless, but I have a lot of knowledge that I think that I've forgotten over the years. But it's like I could sit here for hours, and we could talk about any subject in the because I love that stuff, like the body and the even medicine. I'll sit there and talk about like, hey, this is how the heart works and stuff like that because I've been doing it for so long. And
Hey, were you thinking about that blondie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got some stuff.
It's good, man. I bet you got some snacks, man.
Wow, man.
I learned a lot today.
Yeah, it's a lot of information.
It's a lot of information, yeah.
So, the last pictures that I saw from you, you look like a friggin' statue, man.
Yeah, I sent him someone an email.
Yeah, we'll post them.
Yeah, I sent someone an email. Some of my last competition. One of them was North Americans, where I got 5th in North America, and one of them was like a regular photo shoot type thing that we did. But yeah, I got down to, that's what I said, I dropped too much weight too quick. Like, I'm always, you start thinking in your head, like, oh man, I got to get down to 176. And like, really, I'm 230 in the off season. Why am I dropping 40, 50 pounds to get where I need to be? But in your head, you're like, I got to get to this number.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I sucked it down, man. I drop all the water and I dehydrate and I go 2 or 3 days without water for the last couple of days. And I'm just like a freaking shriveled up and then like, oh, okay, I made weight. Let me eat again, so.
Jeez.
I've been to shows, like I did a show in Vegas a few years ago and I was 12 pounds over the night before, the morning of. So from the morning, so my weigh-ins were at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was like 185, 186. I had to be down to 176. Dang. So I put on trash bags and a sauna suit and sweats, and I sat just like wrestling, right? I sat in the shower with the heat on in the shower and just sat there for like an hour.
Sweated out.
And then I got on. I had a scale with me. I carried a scale in my backpack at that time, and I was like, okay. Wow. So I put a scale down. I was like, okay, I still got 6 pounds to go, and I'm like 2 hours away from weigh-in. So I put the trash bag back on. I put the sauna suit and the sweats on, and I'm at the MGM. And I have to. So you look on the map. You're like, oh, the MGM's here. The hotel that we got to be at's right there for weigh-ins. Well, Vegas fools you because that's like 3 miles or something, right? So it's like noon. It's like 110 outside in July, right? At the end of July. And I said, oh, I'm gonna put my backpack on. I'm gonna walk to the hotel. So I start like getting dizzy and like vertigo and like about to pass out because I haven't drank water in 2 days. And so I dip into a hotel and I was like sit there in the air conditioning for about 30 minutes and I walk more and I finally get to the hotel and I take off and I like pull the trash bag up and it's like a freaking waterfall, like hits the ground in the bathroom, right? So I'm cleaning it up with towels and stuff and I get my scale out of my backpack and I'm like 176.5 on the dot. So ran over there, jumped on the scale, got my weigh-in done, made weight, and then went and ate right after. Yeah, but I dropped 11 pounds that morning, man. So
how dangerous can that be?
Well, I mean, especially that heat and stuff like that. I mean, luckily I kind of know my body a little bit, more than a lot of people will, and I know like signs and symptoms of like heat stroke and heat exhaustion and stuff like that. So I knew what I was facing. But I
sacrificed.
I pushed it to the point, to the point
that
where
goes back to the word addiction.
Yeah, right. So you're like, oh, I would lose 10 pounds a day. So a gallon of water is 8 pounds. So a little bit over 8 pounds is a gallon of water. So you're like, hey man, I dropped a gallon and a half of water. Yeah. I didn't do anything else. I sweated from here to here. So I dropped a gallon and a half of water. But then,
Yeah, I mean, you hear about stories like that, like you say, wrestling and kids
boxing and all.
Yeah,
right.
I remember when he was in boxing when he was young. I remember him one time putting the trash bag.
You have to make that weight, man.
Yeah, it was just like 3 or 4 pounds though. It was nothing like that.
Yeah. It's just, because the weight category. So 176 and a half all the way up to 198. That's light heavy. So I didn't want to come in at 180 something because I'm at the bottom of the light heavy. So I said, I want to come to the bigger middleweight, which is 160 something to 176. So I was like, I'm gonna cut down and be the biggest middleweight instead of being the smallest light heavy.
Gotcha.
So that was my mindset.
Wow.
So from there, when you make the weight at 176, and then boom, you jump back up to
185, but you can't drink water. Like, so you can only have a couple of sips of food because you don't want all that water, because your body's too smart, right? That's the reason why we can't, like, people would all be dead because we try to trick our body, like, especially females are like, I'm just not going to eat for 2 days and that's going to help me lose weight. Well, your body's like, okay, your body has what they call an antidiuretic hormone, right? So when you don't eat, your body's like, okay, I'm going to throw this hormone in there and it's going to slow your metabolism down. Right? Because if you don't, you kill yourself because your metabolism will still be up here and you're not taking any food, your body would just eat itself, right? So your body's way too smart for stuff like that. So your body has what's called ADH, which is antidiuretic hormone. Same thing. You don't drink water. You drink a ton of water and you pee more, right? So that's your body suppressing that antidiuretic hormone. Well, whenever you don't drink enough water, your body releases that hormone and you don't go to the bathroom at all. You go all day because you're like, man, I haven't drank water today, so I haven't gone to the bathroom. So if I went and I didn't drink water for 2 days, and then right after my weigh-ins, I start drinking water. Well, all the cells in my body are dehydrated. It's going to suck up water. So I'm gonna be bloated. I'm gonna have like a film of water on me and stuff like that. So you want that dry, that crisp look. So you kind of like don't drink. Okay, I need a couple of sips of water because you can't digest food without water. So I need a couple of sips of water, but not too much because I'm gonna spill over. So
Wow.
So
When you hit the stage, you were how much?
about 185 again. So I went back up the next day. So
the next day.
The next day, that's all from food. So yeah, I eat like 2 cups of rice afterwards, and then every 2 hours I'll eat rice and carbs and stuff like that.
So once you're locked in, you're weighed in for that competition.
Yeah, once you usually
at that point.
it's the day before or a day and a half before, and they'll weigh you in, and then once just like kind of like wrestling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like once you make weight, you're good. They're not gonna check you again.
Yeah.
But now you got to hold that conditioning and like I can't go.
It's all about look at that.
Yeah,
point,
bodybuilding and competing like this is a beauty pageant. Like it's all about I'm not the prettiest guy, but like the body is what you're looking at. Hey, this is a beauty pageant. Like it's all about the look. It's all subjective. It's like going to a beauty pageant or a Miss America pageant. Like, oh, this is the prettiest girl. This is the whatever. It's all about that, but of the body, right? So it's like, hey, this person's the leanest, but they don't check your body fat. It's all about perception. The judges, you got 5 judges, and it's perception. Like this guy looks like he has the best physique, and they judge on muscularity, conditioning, symmetry. So the left side looks like the right side. Wow. The top and the bottom, they look like they work together. You know what I mean? Color from your tan. If your color's off, they'll take points.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Really?
The spray tan. Is that mandatory?
Yeah, it's mandatory because you're under spotlights. You're under spotlights, right? So if you don't have a tan on, you're gonna ghost out. You're gonna look pale. You won't have. So you get. I put like 4 coats of tan on, and I look like an Oompa Loompa, right? So I'm like bright orange, and like my face is still white because I only put 1 coat on my face. But from here down, it's like I'm like super brown.
And it's like spray or
it's both. They have spray and then they have almost like a paintbrush. And one of them's like a glove. You ever had a mat? Yeah, it's usually almost like I have the guns. We do this tanning at my gym for those competitions, and it's literally like it's a compressor and a little gun. Yeah. You got a little thing that's okay. Turn around.
So that's more for the purpose of the lighting.
The lighting, because you want to be dark for the lighting because you're on a stage and the spotlights are so bright. If you're pale, like
shadows.
especially like me, you don't get any shadows. You just look like a white blob up there. So
That's why the darker guys look all.
Yeah, it looks better. It looks better. And then they put like a small coat of glaze. We call it glaze, so it's like a little, it's like an oil that they put on you. It's a special. It's not like baby oil. It's a special oil that they put on you, and it kind of gives you that shimmer on stage. And that's how.
Wow.
It's a lot to it, man. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna put on some chunks and go stand on stage. It's like, I gotta get my tan done. I gotta make sure it doesn't run.
And what about the shaving? You gotta shave. You gotta
shave your whole body. Yeah, no hairs. Yeah, so the whole body from the.
That's mandatory, or
because
that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, the best thing to do because anything like even with tattoos, like tattoos don't count against you. But if I have a sleeve on this arm and I don't have a sleeve on this arm, the symmetry, right? You don't look the same, or it's gonna hide some of that muscle conditioning.
Gotcha.
Say I'm super shredded in my abs, but I got my whole abs a tattoo. Am I gonna be able to see the muscles in it? So I don't have any tattoos, and it's not only because of bodybuilding, but that's part of it because I don't know. I want to make sure that I did that for so long. I didn't want to put anything on me. I change my mind every 2 days, so I'm like, okay, I got to put something on me now that I'm gonna like in 10 years. So that's why I don't do tattoos, but a lot of bodybuilding because I want to make sure that my body looks symmetrical and stuff like that. So.
Tattoos are addicting, man. So be careful.
Yeah, no, I'm good. That's why I just said everybody's got addiction, and mine's weights.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Woo. That was a lot of information.
That was a lot.
Very cool, though, man.
Yeah, man.
Cool. Let's have one last pose right here.
All right, get him up.
Cool.
Thanks for your time, bro.
Thank you, Mike, for joining us.
For your service as well.
Oh yeah, man. I love the military. Everybody's like, man, why are you still in the military? You have these businesses, bro. I love the military. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the military. Like it opened so many doors for me. Discipline that it taught me, education that it gave me. I mean, I've got my whole degree paid for from the Army, so it's like, and I still can go further with more. So it's like,
nice.
Everybody's like, why are you still in the military? I'm like, because it's just for one, I love it. I love what I do. I love serving. I love doing that stuff. But I mean, the opportunity that it gave me in life, I think I owe something back.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha. And what is your rank?
I'm a sergeant right now, so I've been out for 8 years. Okay. So I got out for 8 years and I got recalled back in. So for this border thing, but I did a 3-year out and then I just got back out for 5 years and I just came back in last year. So I made my E6 in active duty, but I didn't stay in long enough to keep it. So gotcha. I'm up for promotion right now, but really to me it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't. I don't do it for the money. You know what I mean? Gotcha. So it's cool to have the rank, but I make money other ways.
Gotcha.
You
and
know?
you're recently married?
3 years ago. So yeah,
Gotcha.
3 years ago. Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, we've been together for
Congrats,
8 years. Yeah, so we've been
Congrats.
together for a while.
Awesome.
Yep.
There's a big show in Denver in March.
Yeah, there's one there's one. So Texas has the most. So Texas has about 38 shows a year.
Wow.
So it's one every weekend somewhere in Texas, starting from like March until December. There's one every weekend in Texas somewhere. Denver has like 4, I think, or Colorado has like 3 or 4. But Texas by far, Texas and California has the most shows. Yeah.
And they can follow your schedule and find out all about you on Facebook.
Yeah, usually Instagram's what I'm busiest on. I share everything to Facebook at Mike Gracey, MikeGracey. And you can go on there and you can see Sho Offz and Fit Fuel Grill and the Mad Chemist Labs are all tagged on there.
We'll put it all on screen, man.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, and then hey, man, mention the podcast and I'll give you guys a free smoothie. So come into the gym and just mention the podcast and
There
I'll
you
hook
go.
everybody up with the Sho Offz.
And it's gone already.
Yeah,
Carlos
it's
already
good.
slammed it.
I
Nice.
tell you, that's a good.
I already feel, let's go.
A lot of people do that for breakfast. They're like, hey man, I don't eat breakfast. I'm like, you got to put some. It's called breakfast for a reason. Breaking the fast.
He's on the seafood diet.
Seafood, you eat it? Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me out, man. It was a lot of fun. Hope I didn't talk too much.
You made our job
You
easy.
educated us.
I get on rants, man, and I'll start flowing. And I have a severe ADD, so I'll just go from one subject to the next, whatever pops up, and it'll just
No,
go.
but you can tell you love what you do, so that's,
Oh yeah,
that's
passion.
awesome.
It's all about passion, man. And people see that when you what you do. So
Yeah.
if you come in and you talk to a trainer, like, we'll kind of get you in shape a little bit, but like we're gonna get you. You know, you're gonna be in such great shape. We're gonna do. You gotta motivate people. You want to be. You need to be there for their motivation. You know, that's in everything in life.
Pump you up.
Yeah. We try to Richard Simmons, man. He's the best. He's the best motivator.
Yeah, he's always
the
hyping
guy
you.
was never in great shape, but he was the best motivator in the world. Oh, honey, you look great. Let's go. We're gonna do something. You know, like he was the best motivator.
Dude was. About that, but I never. It's true. I never
Dude
saw
was
him shake.
always happy. He was always
to the
energy.
oldies.
Yeah, he was always got energy, but he wasn't in the best shape. But he would like, hey, we're gonna do it. We're gonna have fun, you know. So
I
yeah,
remember my mom doing sweating to the oldies of the PhD.
yeah. So he was like one of the originals in fitness. You know, they started this stuff in the '80s when nobody else was.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
true, man.
so you got to look at people like that,
Innovator.
like innovators. Yeah, he made tons of money off of just dancing with a headband on. You know, so,
And little afro.
yeah.
Oh, man.
It's good, man. Thanks, Mike, for
Yeah,
stopping
man, I really
by.
appreciate it, guys.
And,
Yep.
and congratulations.
Yep. Thanks, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We
Yes.
are the Sign Bros, and thank you, Mike.
Let's go hit the
Thank you
gym.
for your service.
Yes.
We're gonna hit the gym right now, so we're signing off.
Motivated you.
Have a good day.
Bye, guys.
SignBroCast is the place where we make